as good as you've seen it around here in terms of improvement once guys are on campus?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, hard to
after just a couple of years, but we're getting better.
Yeah.
He's doing a heck of a job.
That's coaching. That's kids obviously committing to it. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why you just look at like each separate room that we coach. Whether it's O line or D line or whatever. There's been a transition to unity, to discipline, to going to school, to making grades, to playing hard, and you're starting to see it on film, on tape.
Al talked about after the FAU game that some guys, maybe didn't bring their training to the game. And after the Florida game, he says, man, that was a dogfight, scratching and clawing, fighting for the O-line. What did you want them to work on in the bye week? What are some areas you wanted them to get better at?
Well, for the offensive line, we just laid down the pad level and forward footwork to match, the track of our backs in the running game, and and to try and stop pass rushers, and rather than, really, we were working on snapping off punches and trying to stop guys. Just the basic fundamentals. You can't ever get away from them. And, I will say this, we might have had a somewhat poor outpouring in that game of offense, but I thought we played hard, as a team, whether it was special teams, our defense was sensational, and our offense, we're playing hard. And if we keep playing hard, we're going to be a dangerous team.
When it's all said and done, when you look back at that Florida game, and I know you guys like to look forward, but when you look back, is that going to be the toughest defense, especially up front, if not one of the toughest that you'll face all year?
Well, again, it's just guessing, I guess, whether that's a fact, but they're good and they're tough. And looking back in hindsight, I wish as a coach I had done a better job preparing for number 2, because he was like a human wrecking ball in that game. And, he was a hard guy to deal with. But like I say, man, we're playing hard, and that's the whole key. And I think we just had 5 great practices, and we're getting better. And our team's getting better.
And you get some depth now. You get some guys back. So what does that do for you?
Just it helps us out across the board. We got confidence and depth, and we're practicing hard. The guys are starting to figure it out. There's nowhere to turn. You either bring it or someone's going to be nibbling at you a little bit. So.
You guys have had so many moving parts, sort of. I guess the new depth chart, some offensive line moved around. Do you think this is like the way it's going to stay, or is it still a work in progress, trying to find the right fits for everybody?
I think it's a constant deal about competition. That's everything. Everything we're doing is about competing. It starts early in the morning till the practice is over, and then we're grading and QCing everything and seeing how we did in that competition. So I love it. And the coaches are competing against each other too, so it's a competitive world. And the more you breed that competition, the more you get to the game, and it kind of takes care of itself.
How are coaches competing against each other?
Well, we got to get after each other in the drills and just have fun with it, But the players are getting after each other, and it's a natural deal. It's a competition, I like Jethro, but I call him a lot of names when I'm out there. He calls me a lot of names. We're just having fun, though. But we want to compete. Whether it's one-on-one pass protection or inside run drill or whether move the pocket or whatever, blitz.
A couple of the players talked about it after the Florida game that, it's starting to get to the point again here, and you know about this, that where the practices are tougher than the game. Can you just expound on that?
Well, that was Coach Golden's plan, and he's been steadfast about keeping with the plan, and he hasn't altered it very much. And, we've just kind of got along. And as a coach, if you're not used to his way, I don't care. I've worked for a lot of coaches. You got to understand what he wants, and then you got to go do it to the best of your abilities. And I think, we're starting to gel in that area too. So we'll see. It's a process, and we got a lot of mastering to do it. And obviously from what we did last game offensively, we have ways to go.
But obviously with, you're talking about the O-line going against the D-line and it kind of being grinding out there. Just talk about that tenacious competition at practice.
Oh, for all the years I was at this school, the offensive linemen, we kind of just got humbled all week long and then went to the game and said, oh, it's good to go against somebody like that, you know what I mean? But, because we've had the best linemen in the country, and now our D is starting to play harder and harder, and it's a fierce competition out there all the time.
John Feliciano, I guess I've heard he's doing pretty well. Can you talk about his consistency and just sort of your take on how he's progressed?
Yeah, he's kind of like an old school guy. He's he's real smart and he's real tough, and he'll do a little bit of pancakes and cutting and 6-second drive blocks, and he's got a little bit of the devil in him. He's kind of fun to watch on film, because he's trying to go after you. You don't want to be on the field just kind of lollygagging around if he's around, because he's going to take you out. He's that kind of player, and he's fun to watch.
He's got a little Casey Jones in him, it sounds like?
Yes, yeah. He's got a little bit of Casey Jones in him, yes.
Well, what about just for you, the win over Florida? I mean, just the emotions of it, for you being here as long as you've been. I mean, what's that like? Joe Robbie or Sun Life Stadium is built for baseball and for football, and since I've been back, I haven't been in there when I seen a crowd that was a crazy crowd. I mean, people were dancing and screaming and jumping up and down, and our kids were getting into it, and and you were in a fist fight against a really good team, and it was the kind of environment that we all wanted to see around here, and it was a great thing to be a part of for me, and because the Orange Bowl was more tight. It was like a tighter joint, and it was like on you more. But that was the first time I said, wow, this place is popping today, man, and it was a fun environment, and our kids really loved it.
Talk about Brennan Linder. Al says he's been pretty consistent, the whole time here.
Yeah, he's there. He is right there.
Yeah.
He studies film really hard and competes really hard, and he's very coachable, and he's he does 40 reps at 225, and he wants each game to him is he realizes he doesn't have a lot of them left, so he just keeps fighting and competing like crazy, and he's fun to coach.